it's a great pick here, and also again one of Arjit's best heroes as well. There's not a lot of control to deal with the Queen of Pain, which is a bit of a concern. But so you've got this lane now that you take a look. Ragdoll mid lane should be one. Safe lane, whether it's a Terrorblade Lion or Terrorblade Clock, has an immense amount of kill potential. So I'd give the edge a little bit to that lane. We're now looking for this last lane though, the top lane, I should say actually the bottom lane. What are we looking for? 23rd pick for Army Geniuses. So we're trying to find their carry hero. Anything standing out?
I mean, they're just looking for a good carry-to-carry matchup right now. I mean, the thing that they are they even lacking all that much? I suppose on Ragdoll's side, they want to make sure that they've got something that's going to be able to keep them locked in place. Because, yes, you've got the clockwork, but other than that, you know, you do have the freedom to just run away on a lot of these heroes. So, and especially once you pick up the 4-staffs, right, the clockwork isn't that much of an issue. So maybe they can set up to try and counter Ragdoll picking something along the lines of, well, actually the Mars is gone as well. Nightstalker providing a lot of that that vision as well to prevent the easy run away. So, I mean, good carry-to-carry matchups against the Terrorblade. It's not going to be the Luna. It's not going to be the Spectre. That can't really go the Drow because you've got the Clockwork and the Queen of Pain to be able to counter that. Maybe something like a Morphling or a Faceless Void could be what they opt to go for. I mean, they've got the Dark Willow combination already, and those are both heroes that don't really care about getting cogged up.
You will have a pretty strong laning support as well with the Bane, so like, more than likely, I'd like it to be some form of a melee hero. I mean, you need ways to take towers, objectives as well, which is a big thing. So considering Roshan, because Tide's going to have the Gusher on the Radiant side, you could really consider, it's going to depend, this issue, you've got 23rd pick, so you're not even seeing Ragdoll's off lane. So
yeah,
I was going to say,
Ragdoll won the coin flip, so they chose second pick. It's so important so early on into these tournament series, right? Just to have all of that information that you need, and they're just so confident with their Terrorblade that they don't care about the fact that, you know, you are able to respond to it in the first phase. They've just got the better mid matchup, and now they're going to get the better laning matchup as well with the last pick of the overall draft.
Yeah, it's really scary here for, I mean, they don't have a lot of time left to be able to decide as well what hero DB's looking for. I mean, PL, Lifestealer, both banned out in the last phase for Ragdoll, so they feel like they are the key heroes that maybe could have exploited the draft, and, well, they'll go with the Spectre.
Okay.
It's... How are you feeling about the Spectre? Because Terrorblade's decent versus this hero. I mean, Reflection gets rid of the illusions. Line, a support that can kind of play back and forth just because you have a instant way to deal with the spec illusions as well. So it's not the worst matchup here.
It's not, but I mean, if you're going a Spectre and you're going like an Aghanim Scepter build, then you know where the Lion is, right? He's already going to be in vision if you're going to try and go on to him and lock him down. And then it's probably like an Orchid build after that, right? So that you can guarantee that he's going to get picked off at the start of every single team fight. So then it just puts things a little bit more onto the Lion. We're not sure if it's going to be Yif or Menu Ping that are going to be playing it. But, you know, it makes it that you need to be playing so much more around that Fog of War, and they're just going to respond with a Timbersaw. I mean, I don't hate this Timbersaw pick. It's, again, more damage that's going to be able to deal with the Tide Hunter early on. You just need to be careful about your positioning, particularly with regards to the Dark Willow.
This is... I mean, it's quite the Timber game, honestly. What have you got to deal with it? Lim's going to have a really... He is going to be forced to have a really good game to pick up an early Spirit Vessel. Otherwise, GY is just going to run over this game.
Yeah, Spirit Vessel plus high experience, right? Yep. So you've got that Bedlam to be able to deal with it. But you also kind of feel like you want to get on top of the Lion and the Clockwork, you know, heroes that don't have insane escape mechanisms. Like a Timbersaw, sure, you might be able to start a couple of seconds of the Bedlam, but he's just going to Timber Chain away after a little bit of time, unless you get that silence up with a Storm Spirit. And, you know, depending how the laning stage goes for GY, he might even have a Lotus Orb by a pretty damn early timing.
Yeah, it's really looking rough for how they're able to deal with the Timbersaw. I mean, we were speaking about the fact that you're picking your carry matchup blindly without knowing the opposition's off lane, and we see it might be a bit of an issue here now for DB, but overall, do we feel like Army Geniuses can get around this Timber matchup, or is that going to be too much of a force in this game one?
I feel like they might not be able to. Specifically because a lot of the early game pressure is going to need to come from Azura, and I feel like he's been put into a losing lane matchup here. You know, Azura very skilled individually, but you know, you're going up against Arjit in that mid lane. You've got a not so favorable matchup. You know, Queen of Pain is just going to be able to trade so much more easily, both with the use of the Shadow Strike plus the fact that you're constantly spamming spells with the Static Remnant means that you know, you can just simply buy a magic stick and you're always going to have more health and mana. And then you've even got the risk of having a Clockwork and a Lion rotate through to that Storm Spirits lane before he gets level 6. You can get some pretty damn easy kills early on if you're out of position, even for the slightest moment.
Yeah, it's really going to be a lot of emphasis on watching how Storm Spirit can take over this. GY's asking for some peace. I don't know if you can ask for peace in a game of Dota. I mean, it's a game of almost killing the Ancient, but really who can kill the most heroes as well. That's where you get the gold, the experience, and I mean, it's really all about the killers in the end. I don't know if you can ask for peace right now.
Can't we just bet that everyone has a good time, you know? It's the first game, you know? I guess there is a lot to play for, actually. You want to separate yourselves from the pack super early on, take a little bit of pressure off of yourselves. You know, it's always that stressful situation, right? Being behind the 8 ball, being in a situation where you have to win every single game. You know, if you're able to build up a little bit of a lead, not to say you can get complacent, but it just takes a little bit of that extra pressure off, because it's been helped a little bit that Boom has moved up to Division 1 now, but there is so many good teams fighting for just 2 spots for that promotion in Season 2 to Division 1.
Without a doubt. Yeah, and you want to start with some confidence.
Look at this rotation. Momentum. Army Geniuses, this is something that they do pretty well.
You really don't want to force an early blink level, and Citrus, he held it to the last second. He knows how important that dagger level 1 is, and honestly, is that worth giving up the kill? And we'll find out, but I mean, this should give at least the first full, you know, couple of waves to the Storm Spirit.
I mean, that's a good way to give Azura a much better lane, right? You have to make that decision. Is it worth giving up the first blood? I mean, it could have gone to anyone, right? You were in such a stressful situation that you just want to get the kill. Maybe I feel like giving up that first blood was probably the better option, unless Ragdoll are just thinking, look, regardless of this, we just feel like we're going to be in a good position to get first blood for ourselves. Maybe still, you know, at level 2 for Citrus, he could look to put a bit more of that pressure on. But if they don't get first blood, then this is a big win coming through for Army Geniuses.
I really want to pay attention now to this mid lane. I just want to see, because we put a lot of emphasis saying this game feels like it's on the Storm Spirit. Like a lot of the early damage, Azura needs to be making rotations to kind of help the side lanes. And we were saying this mid matchup is not going to go as well versus the Queen of Pain, but now he's been almost given a lifeline. Like they've chucked him out an extra, you know, potential here to turn an unfavorable matchup into maybe a 60-40 or even a little bit better than that. So all eyes on Azura, because we were both really impressed with his performance overall in the Pro Series 9.
Yeah. I mean, you're essentially just giving him an entire first creep wave for free, right? Like, it's going to bring him to that level 2. Citrus is probably going to take him a few creeps into that wave until he's able to get up to that point. So, nice little victory there. Doesn't help that he's missing a few of these last hits, though. So
much for it helping out.
It might be just the nerves. Game 1 nerves coming through. And for a lot of these players, it's the first time they've even played at all in the DPC, you know? The first iteration of it. Weren't a few of these players. You know, again, competition is always stiff within the Southeast Asian region. Topside VT faded. He's actually getting gone on a little bit up here as well. Good to see that his tag is correctly showing as well. He was a little bit worried that it might show as Lisa M, which he had previously.
And we get to see the full man at heart here, back on the spamming terribly. Something at least he, along with Ragdoll, are really comfortable on. But how do you feel about this lane? Because I'm a big fan of Terrorblade with any stun, but still a Titan Dark Willow is a pretty strong lane. Tied with anyone. This hero at this stage in Dota is an incredible place, but unless he gets brought down from the level 2 combo, as Wami will give up first blood, Dark Willow is going to look to maybe turn it back around and get some damage out, but yeah, giving up that first blood is not what you want to do with the first Metamorphosis.
Yeah, for sure. And, well, Azura, despite the fact that he had that skilled matchup with the Blink, obviously, having to be skilled up by Citrus, he has just gone a little bit ahead in net worth, but there's slightly bigger creep wave for the Queen of Pain to farm, so he's going to be able to pick that up. He's even got the bottle coming out to him, and now you can just see the strength of the harass coming out from the Shadow Strike. You know, he's even got a Tango remaining after this. He's going to be able to guaranteed pick up one of those water runes, maybe two if they look to contest the same one. That's the other advantage that Queen of Pain has, right? Just the ability to be able to use that blink before any kind of movement abilities on the Storm Spirit or any boots of speed get picked up there. Oh, there's that value of that Sentry Ward again, only now, just prior to the 3-minute mark, getting that small camp unblocked. So Azura, he's constantly had to go back to the lane to secure any amount of farm for himself. And Citrus, he's going to look to punish an early level 4 compared to Azura. Let's see if he's able to use it to its full potential.
Definitely is at the moment. Just a consistent harass. Clockwork Wolf go down up top, in fact. Lim. That's still a solo kill. We were putting some emphasis as well on the Dark Willows. Meanwhile, Citrus finds a solo on Azura. So back and forth we go across the map as you were asking to see how Citrus could use this early advantage, and that he does.
Yeah. So the fact that he was forced to scale up that blink, a complete non-factor now. Like, this lane is just going to be heavily Queen of Pain favored. Even more so now with the bottle refill coming through. Lim just wanting to make sure that the bounty rune is still available. They've got vision of it with their own observer, but stacks starting to build up a little bit here, just wanting to enable Azura to move away from that lane as much as possible. He knows how much harassment's going to be coming through from him. And look at Menu Ping. He's just hanging around, making sure to block up the camp again, soak up the experience as well. It's just bullying Azura right now.
Hopefully Lim sticks around, because he's got a sentry. He's now actually going to look to double back and maybe de-ward the camp. And you ping, again, like you said, just being a nuisance, really trying to limit the farm that Azura can get. That's one of the nice things about the Storm, is that you do still farm the jungle at a pretty decent rate. So we can see some of the losing matchups, you'll just fall back to the jungle early on, but with all the emphasis that Ragdoll are putting on at the moment to continue to shut down.
Yeah, and I think the thing with the Queen of Pain these days as well is that, you know, Citrus right now, he's got the 2 points in the Shadow Strike. He put the second point into the Scream of Pain as well at level 5, not wanting to fully commit into the Shadow Strike. Because, again, it's going to be quite heavily on him to try and deal with the Tidehunter super early on. You know, he's still quite tanky against a lot of their damage outside of the Timber Saw and before the Lion hits up onto level 6. So I feel like Citrus, if the Storm Spirit keeps coming back to the lane, you're going to put more points in the Shadow Strike, but otherwise just keep leveling up that Screen of Pain so that you've got a good potential to be able to take out these other heroes, because you don't want, you know, a 4-point Shadow Strike to just be cancelled out by that Kraken Shell.
And a lane we haven't really paid too much attention to is down bottom. I mean, there's been no kill threat at the moment, but looks like GY is having a really good time. He's trading farm with the Spectre, but this is the fact that GY has hit kind of the threshold where he's almost unkillable. Now will really open up the map for Yif, and we can just see these early rotations. Like, he's going to look to play around with the Queen of Pain because they together have a lot of kill threat.
He's even just soaking the experience even further from Azura. Like, as long as Azura's not level 6, yeah, I mean, why not?
We get the creeps. That's free gold. Oh, even the courier.
Oh no, this is going from bad to worse, I gotta say. And just all of the vision as well coming up here. Got the Observer Ward placed inside their own jungle. It's slightly out of that sentry range on the high ground. They don't have any heroes with abilities to just scout out on top of that high ground except for Azura. And right now he can't go scouting for wards. He needs to make sure he's securing any farm that he can, because he's falling a long way behind right now as TP rotation.
Yeah, first rotation from Citrus. He's going to be forced to drop the ultimate here. They need that extra damage to bring down Wami. Unfortunately for VT Faded, he doesn't have a level. It feels like it's not important of a kill. Honestly, I can kind of respect that. I mean, you hold the ulti. I think they really want to kill the Storm Spirit. I think that is a much more valuable kill if they could just put Azura completely in the grave.
But at least now he's level 6, and he's got this gigantic stack that he's looking to farm. Yif, he's going to try and position himself around the area. They even scouted out with the use of that rocket flare. Oh, Yif, how much of it can you steal away? It's 2 points in the Earth Spike. It's a decent amount of damage.
Even Clock is coming over too. All the supports at the moment, but he's going to have to go into Azura's relatively strong resources after the mana. And health was picked back up.
If Quap can just take it, I think you're fine with that as well.
Oh, Citrus?
Radiant's top tower
They should
is
get
under
majority of it. But
attack.
the thing is that Storm's tracking all the way back to base, so they're soaking this big camp with 3 heroes on Radiant and 2 on Ragdoll. So, you know, this is still probably mission accomplished if you would say so for the boys on Dire.
Yeah, very happy with it. I mean, it just means that GY is free to farm. You can see VT faded. He's well up there at the top of the net worth charts right now. Everything's going right for Ragdoll, even though the kill score is slightly in Army Genius's favor. I mean, DB, he's in a little bit of danger of going down here if he's not on point with his jukes.
GY should have plenty of mana to work with too, thanks to the Soul Ring, and well, DB is going to get no assistance at the moment, it looks like. We'll go for a TP out, knowing the abilities are on cooldown, and he'll just make it with some nice awareness. But further on, let's take a look inside the river. Citrus and Menu Ping battling out for the 50-50 power rune.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Obviously,
attack.
very, very important to be
Radiant
focusing that one
structures
down.
are
They end up
fortified.
picking up the haste for Citrus here, but the fact that Azura used all of his mana to go ahead and do that means that, you know, the DB just used his TP back to base, right? He had the haunt available, so maybe if they find the right sort of pickoff, DB can use that first haunt, you get a quick early kill onto someone, but you just can't do it with Azura with no mana.
And this is something that Ragdoll
Is under attack.
play really well with when they have these early towers and just can enable so much farm, because they have a greedy 4, they've got a greedy 2. Like both Yif and Citrus really like being able to get early farm along with VT Fader. So if you can open up the map with these early towers, it really kind of plays perfectly to their style.
And again, it's that farming core style. You got VT Faded and Citrus looking to, you know, help with taking a few of these stacks together. Feel like you can just give this one over to VT Faded Citrus. I know you've been teammates for a long time, but you know you just gotta sort of stamp your authority sometimes. As that Queen of Pain saying, nope, I'm the one that's putting the pressure on early on. You're not going to be killing this Tide Hunter too much, so just give it all to me.
Is GY killable? Like, he's almost got Hood. I hope he doesn't die now that I said that. Okay, just chilling.
If Willow has 6, yes, but by that point he's going to have the Hood, so it's a lot more sustainable, of course. It just feels like so rough that they're going to try and get any sort of kill potential happening here, and we don't even know what DB's item build's going to go. Like, he's got a Falcon Blade super early on, just wanting that farm accelerant, I suppose, but are you in a position where you can go for an Aghanim Scepter? I feel like you, with the amount of objectives, I don't hate it. I mean, it's going to be consistent damage coming up from the Queen of Pain. The Timbersaw, you can look to turn it around a little bit, but my main concern is you're going to be losing a lot of your vision quite soon because of all these towers that are consistently going to be pressured by, of course, a TB with Metamorphosis, a Timbersaw that can just park himself in the most dangerous position on the map.
It does open access to the Ancients too, because Storm Spirit's not a hero that can farm them. I guess you got Tide, but it looks like at the moment Wom is just really looking to park himself down bottom and keep this tower alive for as long as possible. I think this could be one fight that Radiant can maybe, you know, pull out a edge of victory here, where if they dive Wommy too aggressively and then he can turn it with Ravage and TPs, but
Not just
without
Ravage,
that.
Ravage, TPs, and Terrorize. So you've got a long time to be able to lock people in position, especially someone that's inherently a little bit squishier, like the Queen of Pain. Doesn't
Man,
have too
GY's
much.
going for this. Oh, this guy's got no cares in the world. I mean, the main thing is you push Storm all the way back. You stop him from farming top. He now has to walk all the way back to the fountain. It's just... You take a look at the comparison between the cores. Terrorblade free farming, Quap free farming, and then the Radiant cores. They've got heroes up in their face, contested with their farm. It's completely different.
Look at Yip's positioning as well. He's in there just to make sure that there's no easy kill. I mean, look at that.
No easy
Hex
kill.
with double stun.
Without a doubt, they're going to bring DB over too. If will finally fall, but what is the price you got to pay for it? A potential death on Wommy mid as she's still got DB nearby. They'll force to use more of a defensive Ravage. As Tide with that tank ability in the hood, it's not enough to get him out to safety. They'll even sundered down DB with the help of Citrus, blowing up the Spectre. A 2-for-2 trade across the map, but also more objectives soon to fall.
True. They pick it up. They're going to try and, like, again, GY is just able to go this deep because of his inherent toolkit as the Timbersaw. Ooh. See, one thing that I want to see come out, and you know how I feel towards this ability, but it's a good enfeeble game. I'm telling you, that heal/regen reduction against a Timbersaw, 1 point in it for 45% reduction is nuts.
I just got to say as well, that's the second trip Storm just took back to base walking in the past minute. I think maybe he got the assist kill on the clock. No, it was on Yif, and yeah, he in fact got the kill, but his network, his 3700 network, like, it's just, they don't have a Storm this game. We were saying he had to make plays. The Dark Willow's nowhere near, he's going Blink anyway, but regardless, if he was going Vessel, it would take him so long. And now, I mean, you've got a big GY, you've got all your cores are issues. I'm not even just going to list them off. They are just all huge issues this game. Now, this is a nice movement though, straight on top of the Terrorblade through the Ancients, but Menu pings into safety. Unfortunately, with the Sunder still on cooldown, it won't be enough to keep the Terrorblade alive. Storm's able to zip out, but Citrus will at least clean up one, so they'll trade the life, but a big kill nonetheless so far, Army Geniuses.
It's something, but you are still sitting at a 5k disadvantage at the 13.5-minute mark of the game. You've lost your mid and bottom towers. You don't have anyone that's amazing at taking Ancients just yet, at least until the Spectre's finished up that Blade Mail. Thankfully enough for DB, he's only about 30 gold away, because Wami, like, sure, he can take it, but he needs to stand in front of these towers. He needs to soak up a lot of the pressure. You don't have the luxury of putting anyone else there.
Oh, look at this move. Hunting DB out. The recognition that the Spectre's got to be somewhere up top. And they found little Spectre. It's pretty beefy, 1300 max dispersion, but with 4 heroes surrounding. Fortunate DB once again. I mean, second death of the game and just no space to get any free farm.
At least didn't lose that unreliable gold, though. He made sure to make that purchase of the Blade Mail before his death, so he's going to be able to go immediately back and farm it. I say that as Ragdoll have now invaded the triangle, considering that tier 1 tower isn't there anymore. They take away that big farming resource that they previously had. Yeah, this is looking real bad for Army Geniuses, and the thing is, they kind of put themselves in this situation. Sure, they lost the coin flip, which is luck, but you picked a Storm Spirit when the Queen of Pain was available, and an Azura is an amazing Queen of Pain player, so he should have known that this matchup had the potential to come out and bite them.
So I mean, I asked the question in the draft, I'm going to ask it again. Do you feel like Army Geniuses, set themselves up to deal with the Terrorblade line that is kind of expected from what Ragdoll played through the open qualifiers?
Probably not. I mean, the Tidehunter is nice for the laning stage, and you're going to get a decent amount of farm from that, but it's not a counter to it, right? Like I said before, in the draft, even though Ragdoll went for second pick, they just picked the Terrorblade in that first phase when they had the counter to it in the, sorry, they had the counter pick potential to it with that 8th pick overall. But they just went for the Tidehunter, they went for the safe pick.
Azura.
Maybe if that's how...
They're going to smoke into GY. This is big if they can try and get a reveal with the Orchid. GY is just... Screw your Orchid, I'm gonna keep posturing.
Yeah. I feel like they just need to more directly address the Terrorblade next time around. Rather than just pick what's good for you.
On me as well. Leading the charge, straight into Menu Ping. He's got some heroes in the back line. They're gonna look to try and kite the Timber as best as possible with the Ravage dropped as well. This is the opening here. As they can blow up Citrus, they'll look to Yif as well. The lack of control, a weakness for the side of Ragdoll in this team fight as they'll also chase down Menu Ping. Clockwork. Oh, okay. I don't know if the damage would have been enough anyway, but Menu Ping should be able to get out to safety. He's got a TP, but everything's now on cooldown. That is a great reveal, though. You have the Orchid from the Storm, a regen as well, so he doesn't have to make a full trip to the base, but might be some issues in the next minute knowing that everything's on cooldown.
Yeah, everything's on cooldown. Queen of Pain didn't end up using her Sonic Wave, so might have been enough to clean up a kill or two before she goes down, but the turnaround potential is that you've got the Metamorphosis available in another 10 seconds, you've picked up the Manta Style plus the Dragon Lance now on the Terrorblade, even has a couple of those infused raindrops, so he's not going to be dropping down to magic damage, or at least the initial burst, anytime soon, and they could just look to get real aggressive here throughout the map.
Citrus trying to take some farm away. May have gone a little bit too aggressive though. Doesn't have a defensive item, and second death in a row on the Queen of Pain. Now they're going to look to surround the Timbersaw. Azura, without the Orchid, the control lacking here for Army Geniuses. So GY can swing out to safety here with the chain.
They still need the stun into the Bedlam, right? I feel like you can get that kill if you've got the Orchid available again. He doesn't have the Lotus just yet.
Jax, start plotting. We have revenge to meet.
Yeah, that Timbersaw is still just going to remain an issue for them until this Spectre gets enormous. Of course, all of that pure damage coming through from the Desolate, from the Dispersion, will be enough to deal with him, but how much are you going to lose before that point?
I mean, they're already starting to beat on a tier 2 tower. It's 18 minutes into the game. VT faded. Manta, Dragonlance completed. About to crack 10k net worth as well.
Yeah. Citrus just used his blink a little bit too aggressively that time around. Now they've at least de-warded up onto that high ground. That's what punished him previously. So might just need to be a little bit more conscious about where he's making these sorts of engagements happen. I'd be a little surprised if he doesn't just go straight BKB as his next item here. Even just looking to get aggressive again.
Citrus, gotta be cautious because Ravage is back up as Wommy. A beautiful ultimate onto multiple heroes, but VT faded. He puts his body on the line to sunder the teammate. Now they'll turn it back around. They've wasted the ultimates and that's their demise. A 1-for-1 trade at the start, but GY now has a free fight as he's looking to clean up. Breeze actually escapes too, okay? It was some beautiful spell casting. The Ravage at the start. I mean, VT faded with the Sunder, but only a 1-for-1 trade in the end.
Yeah, and it's a core for a position 3. So that 5k net worth lead, it's not growing. It's not as big of a concern though, right? Because you know you're against a Terrorblade. So he's just going to, if you're keeping the net worth lead at 5,000, you're happy with that overall. TB is going to continue to scale just as strong as a Spectre will.
And this does seem like one of the powers of the Army Geniuses lineup. They have some strong team fighting ultimates where, you know, Tide can jump in with Ravage. You've got the Haunt as well, maybe looking to blow 2 heroes up at the start. And soon you're also going to have Dark Willow Blink, so getting on top, bursting a hero down with Bedlam. That feels like the powerful aspect of Army Geniuses lineup here.
Yeah, absolutely. They do have a lot of good response coming through to whatever Ragdoll are going to try and throw at them. And especially now with the Queen of Pain, having that snowball effect removed from a great laning stage means that you've always got the potential to be able to pick her off nice and quickly. So I wonder if Ragdoll will start to play a bit more, on the back foot now. I mean, she's farming underneath vision. There you can see the immediate pings out coming here. Will it look to be a smoke group together from Army Geniuses to try and make that happen? And here we go.
They're smoking without Ravage, though.
I mean, they've
so
got
it's going to be a quick pick,
still.
And they'll look to use the Orchid to their advantage. As once again, Citrus is going to end up falling. Okay, so I mean, Azura and Co bring these back. With Storm Spirit's 5-1 and 3. So we were saying like Azura's not having the greatest game, but KDA's telling a different story.
I mean, when you can get a kill onto the Queen of Pain, I believe twice, and the Terrorblade once, that's a good way to bring yourself back into the game for sure. We've even got an interesting item build here from Lim on the Dark Willow going into that Blink Dagger. So obviously wanting to guarantee that with the Ravage plus the Terrorize, that he's able to get in on top of either the Terrorblade or the Timbersaw and make sure that that Bedlam is doing work. I think level 12 is going to be such a big timing coming through from Army Geniuses here because the damage increase from level 1 to level 2 Bedlam is enormous.
I'm over here I am.
Biff's just completed his blink though for Ragdoll, so it's going to be a really key item here for how they can now start fights, because there was a lot of emphasis on menu ping, but now if one of the cores or even supports are farming a little bit too aggressive on the side lane, then Yif can jump, and they also have an easy answer now to the Bane Fiends group as well, so you're instantly seeing Dire looking to utilize his power spike.
I do like that they're playing around together, even when they do split up a little bit more once they take this next objective and they're going to go back to farming. I feel like it's a big mistake if you don't have either Yif or menu ping, just looking to play around
look at this.
At least until he's got the BKB.
Smoke on smoke, DY. He'll break it, they get the jump. Yimp instantly looking to try and blow up one of the supports, but the Ravage will protect. As now Timber's the target, they'll look to bring him down, surrounding GY. But the assistants have shown up as Menu Ping swings on the backline. Finds a hookshot, locking Varese, now setting up a free fight for the cause as Army Genius haven't been able to blow anyone up with their ultimates. That's been a key component to the last couple of victories throughout these skirmishes. Or just look for a trade.
Yeah, they at least get the Ravage on cooldown, and they're able to take the tier 2 tower. So this is a much better gameplay coming through from them, making sure that no one's isolated completely on their own. It was the Lion that soaked up the majority of the damage, but you're totally fine with that. You know, giving up a support for another support plus an objective. That's a big win coming through from Ragdoll right now. Oh no, the Courier just sitting at the secret shop as well. Menu Ping looking to deny that one away. And what a great hook shot, you have to say as well. Making sure to get it onto the back lines, slowing down the retreat a little further. It was a good use of the Nightmare, though, by Varese to make sure that the Timbersaw wasn't able to continue diving in onto the high ground. Because I honestly feel like with the Dark Willow dead, he was free to do whatever the hell he wanted.
So what went wrong in that team fight, though, for Army Geniuses? Was it, you know, maybe the Quap didn't get clipped with the Ravage and they weren't able to blow up a core, or they just weren't all nearby to connect with it, as actually hold a thought? Ragdoll? I'm gonna try and push on aggressively with this smoke. They know the Ravage are on cooldown, so maybe a pickoff can lead into an objective afterwards, but the rest of Army Geniuses are still looking to turn this fight back around as they'll jump in, blowing up the Lion, but they've got to be cautious. Taking a fight in a close proximity like that, it's not going to be an easy task at all, as also the Bane oversteps his boundary.
Yeah, I mean, I think any single fight where a Queen of Pain is going to get instantly blown up, you just take away so much of that burst damage potential. And, I mean, the Willow, like I mentioned before, going down, it does reduce a lot of that control, right? Sure, you've got the Ravage, but there wasn't the Terrorize afterwards that you needed to get those follow-up kills. You also had Menu Ping with a great hookshot onto the backlines to make sure that the Storm Spirit was constantly running away from the team fight rather than diving in deep, which he wants to do. Like, he's got the BKB freshly purchased, 9 seconds still. So the big question is, how are they going to be playing around Roche as this next key component to the game? We've got the illusion available on Citrus, so doesn't even need to pop the BKB if he wants to try and get out of that Orchid or get out of a Bramble Maze. So that's a nice little bonus coming through from him. Might even be able to dodge out the Ravage if he's perfectly on point.
I think that's 3 smokes for Ragdoll in the past 3, maybe 4 minutes, so looking at continue putting the pressure on. They've found the real Spectre. They're instantly going to look to blow him up. No messing around for Ragdoll. A huge start for the fight. Now they're on top of Wummy as well, limiting his ability to find the perfect Ravage. Just looking to split up Army Geniuses as best as they possibly can. Wummy cycloned up in the air. He'll use it now at the last second. They're going to look to buy back and turn it around. DB getting back in the fight. It's a triple for GY. A messy one at that. But now with the heroes overwhelming, they're going to push him down to the southern side as GY just got too much damage in the tank. An ultra for your Timber. Is now DB, can he TP out? He can. A heavy commitment though, buying back and almost giving a rampage over.
Yeah, it's a big commitment, right? And I want to just give another shout out to Menu Ping, just realizing the position, using that rocket flare. Again, vision wins games a lot of the time at this high level, and made sure to use that rocket flare onto the low ground where the rest of the team was most likely playing, getting the hook shot in onto the Tidehunter, so there was no hope for any kind of Ravage stun to come in to make sure that, you know, maybe the Spectre lives, maybe she doesn't need to buy back.
That's a big hit in DB's net worth. He's now 4k behind the Terrorblade, who's working on the Eye of the Skadi next. And they're still going to stick around. And they know Ravage is on cooldown. They're going to look to jump the Storm Spirit again. With the BKB's on cooldown. And Azura giving up a huge streak to Citrus as they're not done. GY swinging over the tree line is going to find Wummy too. Control still one of the big issues for Ragdoll. Yif is kind of waiting the wings, trying to find the angle, find that perfect opening to follow up, but Army Geniuses will at least get out.
No glyph to stop this push though. I mean, it's been about 4 or 5 minutes until I said that level 12 timing on the Dark Willow is going to be important, and he's gone up about 1 level in that time, so it's just delayed it so much further. And again, like, this is just another game where Ragdoll are looking to close it out around the 30-minute mark when they've still got insane scaling for later on.
I mean, it just seems like this team, how they can execute the lanes and then convert those winning lanes into early towers and continue to grow the net worth lead. They play the map so incredibly well. You know, we see their fight selection as well seems on point through the open qualifier games, through this game as well.
Radiant are scanning.
It's a scan coming through. They know they're in the region around this Roche pit. Of course, they're going to scout out if anyone looks to come nearby with the use of that observer ward just there on the low ground. It's hard to find too much negative to say about Ragdoll, to be honest. And, you know, I'm someone that likes to keep it positive, but outside of those few pickoffs onto Citrus where he didn't have the BKB and he might have been a bit too aggressive, it's been looking pretty damn good for them so far. Just that efficiency, right? Like, I think you summed it up perfectly. The team fight choices. Choosing when to get the kills and what kills are actually important in the context of the game. Because if you just looked at the kill score, you'd be like, oh, it's looking pretty damn even. They've got a Spectre on Army Geniuses. You could look to scale pretty damn well to the late game, but a 17k net worth lead in favor of Ragdoll.
He's going to look to try and blow up the line. So both supports not available for the team fight. Menu Ping feels the importance of being able to rejoin with the buyback through on the Spectre, and they'll blow him up. No DB. They're also locking on top of Reese too, as the Bane stuck inside the mouth of the pit as Ragdoll trade a 2 for 2. But I mean, that's the dieback on your Spectre, and that is free Roshan as well.
Yeah, I mean, fight choice amazing. Just looking to bait out certain regions as well. Even just using the cogs for that little bit of extra vision. Clockwork players take note. If the rocket flares off cooldown, you can still cogs for that little bit extra that you might need to be able to get the D-ward off. And then, of course, not even wanting to go into the Lotus Orb this time around on GY's Timber, sorry, went the Eternal Shroud instead. It's going to be Menu Ping looking to try and pick that up as his next item. Don't hate it at all, but they know that this dieback is a factor. There's absolutely nothing stopping them from trying to push on forward. It'd be nearly a miracle if they're able to make this happen.
Radiant's top tower is under
And
attack.
while Wami's just farming down here on the bottom side, they're not scared of anything at all.
We got meta for about 2/3 left, plus flamethrower. So much pushing potential. That's 2 full sets of barracks, and they're going to look to navigate down to bottom as well. The last tier 3 and barracks left standing as, I mean, you got the Ravage, but no Spectre. Can they delay long enough for DB to rejoin?
Well, there's no hook shot now, so at least you've got that secondary layer of initiation. I feel like you kind of have to go right now on Wami. You know the Haunt.
You got to go.
Haunt isn't even available.
It's on cooldown for 30. She's going to TP into the middle. No meta, but keep in mind, still second life, and now they're up against Mega Creeps. No threat of a defense, and DB is in the front line as well. He's asking, praying for assistance. We'll get some spite of retreat, but now Azura's going to look to jump as well once they catch them off guard. Menu Ping's not the easiest kill, though. 1900 health on the Clockwork, plus the Hood. So he'll survive through all the Storm's burst, and with that, Ragdoll, they can decide what they want to do next.
Yep, BKB on Storm as well has been used, so now you just feel like you can't push on forward now on Azura. You're up against Mega Creeps. It's 23k net worth at the 31-minute mark of the game. It's looking pretty damn clinical right now for Ragdoll. And this is why they were such a favored team going into the season, right? Like, they came through, they blitzed through the first open qualifier, and they've been looking damn impressive throughout. So BT Faded, of course, one of the higher ranked players within the Southeast Asian region as well. I believe he's as high as 3rd or 4th right now on the MMR leaderboards, clearly showing why.
Oh, DB. He's going to have to use the Haunt defensively, but I mean, how do you get out of this? You're almost succumbing yourself to death. As Menu Ping's going to catch him out by the hard camp. Ooh, yeah, you're right. I mean, they would have been able to scout this out. They'd have the awareness. Gonna try and find a little nook, but it's not deep enough as Citrus, Menu Ping surround the Spectre. The position one gone. Meanwhile, I mean, they almost lose Azura somehow. Solo to who was that? Maybe VT Faded?
Yeah, good question, because Yif didn't even need to use the Finger of Death there.
I mean, they're beating tier 4s. We saw no defense previously.
Dire's structures are
One last
fortified.
attempt. A ditched
Radiant's
one
middle
at that.
tower is under attack.
Looking for the opener. Maybe the support's a 0. That's the weakness. Maybe the
Bomber's
targets
gone
at
for
a
the back
less health pool. Bomber's going to fall up as well, but the BKB is soon to expire from Azura. But they've killed off the line, so a lot of the control now lacking. As they'll turn it back around, though. VT Fade, he's at a free team fight, a free game. As the boys on Ragdoll secure game 1 in our opener.
Another great Sunder as well, just to make sure he's protecting Citrus, wanting to make sure that, you know, the BKB might not be available, but there are other ways to be able to ensure your safety. Pretty damn hard to give an MVP that time around. There weren't too many big mistakes on anyone. As a support, I'm going to have to say Menu Ping, right? Like, he was able to follow up so many team fights, give them the perfect situation. I mean, GY as well, though, right? He just did an insane amount of damage, nearly 30,000 by the end of that game, but I suppose just in terms of like team fight effectiveness plus map control plus you know, scouting potential, I'm gonna give it to the Clockwork.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm like, all right, we're gonna give it to the clock. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Also, I think props have to be given. It just everyone felt like they played their role, and this is really a lineup that we see that so often. Ragdoll, they know their individual, you know, roles and what they need to do to be able to set themselves up for a victory. Like you said, just a clinical performance. They blitzed through the first qualifiers. It really looked no different in their gameplay. They play off the back of strong lanes, taking early map control, and then utilizing these farm-intensive kind of cores they have to really just put themselves in such a net worth lead where it's difficult to come back. And you were seeing praises to Menu Ping. I think just the little things as well that we brought it up a little bit in that game. GY, he was just, there was no safe place. There was no free farm. He might not have killed you, but he's going to force a majority of your health pool. He's going to force you to use all your mana, which limits your farm. And it just means that Army Geniuses.
TPs,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
They TP'd 4 people to respond to him many times, and all the while, you just had 2 other heroes looking to make the plays at that point in time. I mean, part of the reason why Citrus died a few times was the fact that, you know, that's the way that Ragdoll like to play. You know, they play on the edge, they try and take a bit more of that dangerous farm, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. But, you know, clearly for the majority of the game, it did, and that was how they were able to get such an expansive net worth lead at the 25 or so minute mark. So, really big props to them. What I'm looking forward to for game number 2, how are Army Geniuses going to be able to respond to this? Because Ragdoll had the coin flip priority in game number 1. I would be stunned if Army Geniuses didn't go for second pick as their choice for game number 2.
Yeah, all eyes on how they can set themselves up for a solid draft to then try and perform at an exceptional level in this game too. Every series is so incredibly important. You want to start off, you know, build that momentum, build that confidence for a new team as well in Army Geniuses. And that game 1 is going to be one that they'll look to remember slightly, try and fix some of their mistakes, but all eyes again on how they can really look to adapt from the draft and maybe take away the Terrorblade, you know, pick the line themselves, you know. We'll see how they can look to counter what Ragdoll kind of dished out here in this game 1. But for the boys, the open qualifier team, they're looking to cement their start with an exceptional level. A game 1 victory to them. We'll send it to a break. See you guys shortly.